So with that out of the way, let's talk to Jeremy first, and then we can recap the 30K?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Good. Jeremy Long's going to jump on stage with us. He's our race director. He's going to set the stage. I've got your mic.
It's my mic. I'm coming in. Whew. Cool. You get in here. You got to scooch in. This is your mic. This is your microphone.
Great.
No pressure. Get real close.
Thank you.
Get real close. Mic is hot.
Mic is hot.
I've been known to say some things on a hot mic, so don't trust me.
Jeremy, day one, how we feeling as the race director?
This is my second experience on the mic today after the start this morning of the 30K, so it's been a great day. I can't believe it went by that fast, but it was super smooth, and it was just one of those days that kind of just clicked by, and yeah, here we are already.
I mean, we got to witness the final two finishers come in with seconds to spare. It was pretty magical.
It was a real golden hour.
It
28
was.
seconds to spare for the final finisher. It was amazing.
And to be honest, we had two DNFs who rolled in probably 5 minutes later. And, you know, in our tradition, we give them their participant glass at the finish, and both of their families were there, and they were all crying because they were amazed that, you know, they still got that award too. And, you know, that everybody was, you know, treated equally, and, you know, it's all about, you know, being on the trail and that experience. So
maybe recount the story of, you know, how we came to be the stewards of this event. You don't have to do the deep story, but just setting this stage for, you know, we're now in year 3, and it feels like each and every year we learn and get better.
The seed was planted by, like most of our seeds, planted by Ryan Thrower, with that
audience.
Original idea of it would be super fun to host a race and, you know, bring our, you know, synergistic energy together and do something, and that became something that we wanted to focus on in the Gorge, and opportunities presented themselves with the recovery of the forest, being able to reopen these trails again, and with you know, cooperation from James Varner at Rain Shadow Running, of course, the founder of Gorge Waterfalls and, you know, the originator of the event. He loved our idea and was totally on board to be able to work with us in securing the rights to the event and doing it properly, and transferring, you know, giving us his blessing, you know, really as the origin of the event, and letting us take the keys and start a new event with some fresh ideas in a different progression of the course, a new cool staging area in Marine Park, and kind of make it more our own, but also, you know, with those roots too. So
maybe say a little bit more about the history, because just for our viewers, this race didn't exist for 4 straight years. Tell why.
In Labor Day weekend, I think, September of 2017, it was a really dry summer here, extraordinarily dry, and unfortunately there was some vandalism with some fireworks tossed off the trail on the Eagle Creek Trail, which, if you're really talking the heart of the gorge, at Eagle Creek, the Eagle Creek Trail, which is the PCT alternate route because it's so spectacular, the fireworks caught fire, and the forest was a tinderbox at the time, and if you weren't following the news at that time, it spread incredibly rapidly, and most of the heart of the Oregon side of the Columbia Gorge burned pretty severely, and which obviously meant that the race wasn't going to happen for an indefinite period of time, and that ended up being pretty much 5 years. So to recover from and get all the trails restored and all of the fallen logs removed, and that's gonna be a process for at least another decade. You know, all of the
trails were closed
all of the deadfall. Yeah.
Well, and a big shout out to everybody who did help to restore these amazing trails and make it possible for us to bring the race back. And as you said, a big shout out to James Varner, who trusted us to be the new stewards of Gorge Waterfalls into this next generation. Like I said, this is our 3rd year cooperating it. My business, Freetrail, with Jeremy and Daybreak Racing, and it's been a great partnership. Maybe paint a picture of this weekend. This morning was glorious at the start line of the 30K. Everybody seemed really happy.
We feel like we've gotten our redemption from last year's weather experience. So,
well, we moved the race back 2 weeks. We could talk about that.
Yeah,
people came back out for it after last year's weather
right.
experience.
I mean, regardless of the weather last year, as atrocious as it was, what kept the event and us buoyed was the runners didn't care, and they had a freaking blast at the event last year by and large. Behind the curtain, it was an arduous experience, but that helped us be able to generate some conversations with a lot of our stakeholders and permit managers and stuff in terms of trying to strike a balance between pushing this out a couple of weeks to have us have a more sustainable impact on the trails, so that we're not ruining trails with excess mud and whatnot. And but their concern obviously is this Multnomah Falls itself literally is the #1 tourist destination in the whole state of Oregon. So to send 1,200 runners across that, there's obvious concerns that we need to balance. So us being able to push it a little farther in the year, but not in that peak kind of spring summer season. So we found it.
And the trail is in great condition.
Awesome shape.
You and your brother Aaron spend tons of time. We should give you both kudos for coming out here on your own time to log things out, to clean things up, to make sure that other people have an opportunity to recreate on it, even if it is our race course. You guys do look after the terrain as well. Oh,
I think at most any trail race director will say that half their job is stewardship if they want to have a course.
Amen.
So,
Amen.
It should be half the job.
It is, yeah. And part of the permission and the experience that we've gained is by working with a really awesome nonprofit, our nonprofit beneficiary, the Trail Keepers of Oregon. They're the ones that taught us how to use chainsaws and certified us to use saws out here. And couldn't say enough about that organization, and we really couldn't have this event without their stewardship. Over the winter it gets hammered out here, and it's almost like restoring forgotten trails every winter.
Right.
So with the post-fire weakness that stress has caused to the forest, there's just a lot more work than a typical forest would need in order for the trails to be clear and in good shape.
So after today, we look at the 100K. Looks like it's going to be another beautiful day in the gorge. You, as the race director, what's going through your head now as we have, I guess, 12 hours to go before sending the first wave out?
Yeah, as we speak, our team is dialing in all the aid station supplies and making sure that all of those adjusted needs are going to be based on the warmer temperatures, like upper 60s, 70 maybe. So that's going to mean more gnarly nutrition, fuel 2.0, more water jugs, pushing that message and making sure the volunteers are topping everyone off and not letting them leave aid stations prematurely. And that's the name of the game with the warm weather day.
They start in the dark tomorrow. Most people will finish after dark. Wouldn't you say? Half the field, probably?
Yeah. Sunset's around a little before 8 o'clock. Yeah. And then we've got 3 more hours of race time. So, we'll see a good half of the people finish after dark. So, everybody at Wyeth, no pressure, Freetrail Pro members supporting that aid station. Make sure everybody's leaving with a headlamp after.
We got the whole Freetrail crew at the critical aid station at mile 50. And last year, the Broth Boys, #BrothBoys, trademark. They got hundreds of people, it felt like, out of that aid station at low moments. So glad to have a good team.
Spot. Right at that 50-mile point. 12 miles seems like another 50 miles. They've done an awesome job there the last 2 years, and can't wait to have an even more elevated crew take it on this tomorrow. So.
Other questions for Jeremy? What are we forgetting? My brain's not working. See, I don't understand how you guys do so many events. We do 2 with you guys, and I'm already shattered.
I mean, it's kind of unique.
It's day 1.
It's kind of unique, I think, in a lot of places to have this kind of back-to-back 3 days of racing, which I'm sure is a blessing. We get to help crew and pace and aid other runners. Run one day, help out the next day. A bunch of us are doing that on the live stream too, where each of us is racing a day and working a day, etc. But what does that mean, you know, from a race directing perspective, to have
a 3-day event?
3 days of racing.
Well, I mean, it's a balance of the realities of you can only fit so many people on a single track trail at a given time. So, you know, from an economic perspective, that means that if we want to meet demand here and bring as many people as we're permitted to have, we need to spread that over multiple days rather than having 1,200 people on a trail. That would never be allowed. It wouldn't be a fun experience.
Yeah,
either, right. Yeah. And it wouldn't be a great experience. So it's a balance of trying to meet demand and then giving everybody a really cool experience and opportunity on the trails.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for
You got an LF Gorge IPA too. Shout out to Gorge's IPA. Beer Co.
I just want to, close just by saying it's super cool to have a live stream experience in the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, and we should say they're also Mountain Outpost is doing the Y East Trail Fest, right?
Come up to Mount Hood.
Yeah.
Third weekend of July, Y East Trail Fest. We're gonna have the live stream there, sending people up to 8,000 feet up on the volcanic scree of Mount Hood. So
check it out. DaybreakRacing.com. Best events in the Pacific Northwest. We also have an event called the Big Alta down in Northern California.
Yeah.
Really proud to work with Jeremy, Aaron, Daybreak Racing on everything they do, and thanks for holding the whole thing together this weekend.
Thanks for having me.
Round of applause for our race director, Jeremy Long.